Well, welcome, folks. You know the voice. It's Wasabi1, and I am joined today by Mr. Abraxas. Scott, are you there?
I am indeed.
All
Greetings.
right. Well, folks, let me know if Scott is a little bit too low. This is actually, I think, the first time I've ever actually had Scott live on a Twitch stream with me.
I think so. Yep.
All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. You're not going to see our pretty faces today because I thought about, oh, we could add webcams, and then I realized Braxis and I really probably don't want to be on webcams right now.
No, I've been out shopping, so I don't look the prettiest today.
Yeah, and I haven't combed my hair, and I haven't combed the stash, so it's all kind of messy.
Yeah, and I need to shave my stash, so,
Right. Well, we're just going to give a couple minutes for everybody to kind of get in. We started the stream and only had about 2 minutes to go. We've got lots of people joining in right now, and we'd like to welcome all of those viewers that are here already. Thank you for coming in to check out our Q&A today. We have a little bit of a poll going right now, just kind of asking if people are excited or interested, maybe not sure. And just for fun, Golden Flash seems to be overwhelmingly winning the poll right now at 60%. So,
interesting.
yeah. So people don't like Golden. That's
Aww.
confirmed by the community. Hughes is saying that he came for webcams. I'm sorry, Hughes, but I'll Skype you later if that makes you feel better.
That sounds private.
We want to let you guys know that we're going to be taking your questions throughout this entire hour. Yes, I just said an hour. Scott and I are going to talk for 1 hour.
Up to 1 hour.
Yeah, okay, up to an hour. I mean, obviously, if we kind of start answering the questions and stuff like that, then, we'll stop. But this is an opportunity for you guys to ask your questions about natural selection to its future and other topics. We're going to help you guide through some of those potential questions with some topics we put together today, but feel free to ask your questions. Our good friend Zephram will be collecting questions for us and putting them in a nice Google Doc for us to answer as we go through. And so, Avi, why are you and I here?
Well, we've decided to take it upon ourselves to create a team of people to take NS2 forward into the future.
Taking it into the future. So a lot of people have kind of, started questioning that, in the sense that why is this happening? Why is it that the public, community that is behind NS2, what are they doing? Why is it that they're coming in and becoming the developers for 266? Why is it not Unknown Worlds? And, I think the easy way for us to explain that is just that we proposed this idea to Unknown Worlds.
We did indeed.
This is an opportunity that we felt would be a good way for them to really focus on their new projects. NS2, they love NS2. I mean, they wouldn't be around without NS2. But look at this. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of NS2 of release here in October. And they've got new stuff in the pipeline. You guys all know about Subnautica. That's awesome. So they're focusing on that. And this is our way of saying, hey, keep working on that. That's awesome. What do you guys think about some ideas that we've got? Here's the team we've assembled. And then this is where we are, right, Abraxas?
Mm-hmm. And the team we've assembled, I think most people will agree, is pretty much an all-star team from the community.
Absolutely. We've got, people such as Samustroid, FS Fod, McGlaspie, Iron Horse, Rentology, Golden, Mindasp. I mean, all sorts of people. It's super effective. Our PT leads. Everybody was really on board with this. I mean, mind you, it was kind of like not necessarily a public proposal when Scott and I began talking about this. But
it's been in the pipeline for a while. I think at least me and you, Wasabi, we've been working on this for a while, and it's been waiting for the opportune time to get it all kick-started, really.
Absolutely. And it takes a village to make a patch, right? I mean, I think we all know this.
Oh yeah.
So here's what here's what we are doing. Okay, this is the best way to probably explain it. We proposed a list of minor changes, bug fixes, and so forth for a potential new patch to Unknown Worlds. They went through it, they looked at it, and they said, yeah, that looks great. Looks like it's something you guys can accomplish with the team you put together. Sounds great. So for the last, week and a half, we have been working diligently with our team to shepherd all these things into build 266. Okay, so build 266 is completely community developed, and it includes a lot of things that I think people will be happy about. And that's that's kind of one of the things that is also big about today is we want to make sure that you understand that this is open development.
Very much so.
Yeah, we're going to be giving you guys access to our public Trello board. Not Mantis, because Mantis is full of a whole lot of crazy stuff. But the main thing here is that you're going to be able to see what our proposals are in the build. You're going to be able to see where we're at with working on stuff. All sorts of options to be able to understand what we're working on.
Mm-hmm. And we're hoping that once it goes public, we'll be able to get in a voting system so you can actually, very much like the Rust Trello, if you guys have ever seen the Rust Trello, where the community can actually vote on a particular Trello card. So say if we have a card that says, we want this feature in the game, what do you think? If it gets enough upvotes almost, then it's more likely we'll see it and we'll consider it, and then we'll move forward on that. So I think this could be really, really good for the community to get more involved in the game.
And we want to make sure that you're understanding what we're doing. That could be easily a stream during a playtest. You actually get to see what playtesting is like and how we accept bugs and how we test bugs, how we talk about problems and try to actually figure out repo steps on a lot of these issues. That could be actually having a discussion in one of these formats with someone like, say, Mindasp, who's working on implementing a lot of the NS2 Plus features into the vanilla game. It could be, helping out in any way regarding mapping or future, features that people want to see. We want to be as open as possible and provide you a lot of different ways to find this information out. And try to be as much a community as possible. And I'm going to answer a question here, and Avi, I'd love your help on this too. The team sounds like a lot of competitive players, not so much community players. Abraxas, I can't necessarily answer that in the sense that I'm a caster. People most notably know me from streaming. What do you think?
Well, actually, looking at the list of our team, which you can find in the general discussions on the NS2 forums, the team is basically half and half. You've got half the guys who are involved in the competitive community. You've got another half of the guys working on this who are not in the competitive community, and they're mostly public players. So it's kind of a good amalgam of the two coming together. And with both sides of the community working on this, I think we can get a nice balance between the two.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good way to say it. I think another thing that needs to be understood as well is from the perspective of our current player count, there are a lot of competitive players which are still driving NS2 to be played in the public. So you can't completely disregard competitive. You've got to make sure it's involved. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have an open team where we can get a lot of people from all spectrums together so that we can have the discussions and, make the best possible moves going forward. Going back to build 266, this is a patch that's going to be coming out soon. We are going to be moving into hopefully some final release candidate testing next week and then move into Steam beta testing of the patch. The reason why we're looking at...
We're not quite sure if it's going to be a public beta test or not. It depends on how good the patch is looking at the time. But we'll see what happens when we get towards the end of next week.
Yeah, it really just kind of depends on what state the patch is in and how stable it is, and making sure that once we move to that, the idea is once we move to the Steam beta stage for our testing purposes, is that we feel it's stable enough to then move to the Steam platform just to check to see if there's any Steam related bugs. So that once we patch the current model that you guys have access to, is there anything introduced by us presenting it that way? So,
or even Valve, because there's been issues with Steam lately on a number of fronts. So it's always good to check on the Steam side before we just say, "Hey, there it is."
And on that front, we want to make sure that you guys understand that there is a post in the technical forums related to a lot of people that have been having crashing issues with NS2 and Steam in build 256. Some people have found that if you are able to at least load the game and you are able to unsubscribe from your mods, that potentially mods that don't exist anymore that you can't unsubscribe from and other issues might be causing your game to crash because it's trying to update when you're joining a server, even though that server may not be running the mod that you're requesting. So just look at that, folks. If you're having issues launching the game, you're crashing on joins, things like that, do what you need to do to unsubscribe from those mods and give that a test. Because there have definitely been a lot of people complaining about that. Abby, do we have a fix for this?
Yeah, it was just checked in today by FSFOD. He is an awesome programmer, and he's the guy who did all the Luajit stuff pretty much. And we asked him to look into this, and like a day later he had a fix. So we're going to test that out probably Monday with a few of the playtesters who are having this issue, and we'll see what happens.
So one of the things is, we keep mentioning a lot of community members, and we call ourselves a community development team. Juicy asks a good question. So are the people doing all this work now getting paid? The answer to that is a simple no. None of us are getting paid. We are all volunteering our time to do all of this. Management, development, social interaction, everything. It's all community driven, no pay. These are the people that are passionate about NS2.
Exactly. But even though I have gold on the forums and I am getting paid to work on Subnautica, I'm working on this in my spare time. I'm not getting paid for this, so this is why me and Wasabi are both leading this project, because we both have full-time jobs, but we do passionately want to work on this game because we love this game and we love the community. So this is why we're doing it in our free time.
A great question from Draktok. Should we expect updates in the same speed as previously? Abraxas?
Possibly. It really depends, because for a while Samastroid was pretty much the only programmer working on NS2, especially on Kodiak. He got a little help every now and again from a couple of people, but he was pretty much full time on it and overtime at times. And it took a little while to get that out. But now we have the community development team. We have 5 programmers on the team now, and they're all across the globe. So, they can be working on the game pretty much like over 24 hours. So we have a much bigger team than we did a few months ago working on NS2.
And it's really exciting to watch our internal chat, because there literally is different bugs getting submitted all hours of the night, in our own respective time zones. And it's really exciting to see how excited everybody on the team is. We put together what we felt was a pretty moderate list for build 266. And we'll talk about a couple of those options. Avi, why don't you open up that document so when I come back to you in a second, we can highlight some of those things that we're going to be putting in there. But the biggest thing about 266 was, obviously, this was kind of like our field test, right? We wanted to be able to prove to Unknown Worlds that we could accomplish putting together a patch, that it was stable, and that it was stuff that needed to be fixed, in our opinion, quickly and easily.
Just the document, the features and bugs for 266 doc. Yeah, look, I'm looking at the document we have now, and it's pretty much like 90+% finished, actually, and submitted, which is awesome to see. So just an example of some of the stuff that we've got going in there. We're going to update just some simple stuff, like we're going to update the credits in the game. Because a lot of people have worked on the game since it came out, so we're going to update the credits. Give people their fair dues. The unknown bug is going to be fixed because it was posted on the forums by, I can't recall his name, but he'll get credited in the changelog. So that's been included and fixed. We're getting a lot of stuff in from NS2 Plus because what Mendasp has done has been really awesome. We're not going to put everything in because then there would be no point in him carrying on NS2 Plus, but we're going to take some of the best things out of it, or some of the stuff that's more like aesthetically good for NS2, and put it into the game. Stuff like add player upgrades to the Insight player frames, add lurk deaths to Insight notifications, display the correct team color and background for all voice chat. Stuff like that just brings it, pluses it up.
Pluses it up. Wow, that was great, Avi. So that's kind of some of the stuff that's going into 266. Obviously, we didn't want to make this massive, okay? But that does not mean that moving forward, another patch won't be big or bigger. A lot of people talking about performance. Pac-Man Night. Are there plans to work on performance and optimization with graphics and the game engine soon, or even down the line? Any specifics? Well, this is still kind of testing the waters with what we can do, what Unknown Worlds is confident in us doing. So I would expect that the first 2 or 3 patches to be very similar to what we just talked about in 266. To be more of just kind of the general bug fixing, some of the annoyances that have been around for a while that just never seem to get fixed, as well as inclusion of some new custom features from NS2 Plus. And then beginning to look forward. Like we said, we've got people like FSFOD, Matzo, they're back working with us. Obviously, people in the community have been a big help to getting NS2 to where it even is right now. And with the help of those programmers, as we begin looking at engine stuff, maybe that will be an option for us. But it's really at the blessing of Unknown Worlds when it comes to the engine. We respect Max so much that we're not touching anything without his blessing when it comes to changes to the engine. So there will be
baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. It doesn't mean that we don't want to look towards that, but we're going to take the time to really put together what could potentially be done, giving some good examples, allowing Max to look over it and have discussions with our programmers, and go from there. So yes,
and don't forget, this team has only been around working together for a week. The team needs to gel. We need to get our pipeline ready. We need to make sure this patch goes out in a very good state. And then as time goes on, we'll be much more confident in the team's abilities, and we can see what we can do with the engine then. But as Wasabi says, we respect Max a lot, and we're going to make sure that Unknown Worlds are completely looking over our shoulder, making sure everything is fine before we do anything.
We have a question about a stable Linux build. Stable Linux build. We haven't had a ton of discussion about Linux. We are aware of some of the problems that people have been having.
There are a number of playtesters who actually run Linux or are having problems running Linux, as they like to remind us.
Yeah, we don't want to forget about Linux, but that is going to be a more long-term solution for us, moving past 266 and looking to the future. We've got a question from Ren26, NS2 WC 2015.
You take this one away.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, actually. I'll be completely honest with you. I want another world championship to happen. We had so much fun putting together the last one, but there was a lot of logistics that go into making that happen. And I don't feel like we cannot do that again, but there are a few things that would really have to happen. We don't want to have to ask, the community to raise so much money. Ideally it'd be great not to have to ask the community for money at all. But what would really need to happen is selling either more sponsorship or getting our original sponsors to come in at a higher rate, potentially. I'm
sure you can sweet talk some people, Wasabi.
You
You're
never
good,
know.
good with that,
You never know. There's a lot of logistics. One thing I can say, and I'm happy to bring this topic up, one thing that could be a potential funding mechanism that won't completely fund it, but could help offset the costs, plushies. People have been bugging, and asking questions. You've seen the plushie. That was a prototype that we had made. I'm still working on it. In fact, we were having discussions this week with the company that did that. We are working on a slightly smaller size that's a little more cost friendly, production friendly, shipping friendly. We're trying to put all that stuff together so that if we do order these and we sell them, the profits from that, after shipping expenses and so forth, would go directly towards funding a potential WC 15. So that's really all we're going to say on that for the moment. Let's also talk about some of our openness here. The forums. Sometime this week, maybe, you will start noticing blue highlighted sections by users such as myself and Decoy and some of your other favorite forum people. Members of the community development team will be highlighted in blue on the forums. This is to help you recognize us, ask your questions directly to us, see, kind of the official response from the team as far as some of your concerns and questions moving forward. And in part of that, we'll also be reinstituting the Squad 5 program. We've already announced that. Some badges have already been given out, and they will continue to be given out. We're going to scale it back. I think, Avi, what did we decide? Are we looking at like a month, every month?
I think so. I think it was something like that. You get to nominate on the forums, and we'll kind of collate them together and then give them out in batches.
So nominate your people on the forums. Tell us people that you thought did a fantastic mod, or community contributors, or they found bug fixes and things like that. All these things are things that we can promote people for. Give them Squad 5. In game, they'll have a badge that shows off that these guys were contributing to NS2, its development, as well as supporting the community. So check that out. Let's go back to questions. How do you guys see this impacting NS2 modding? And do you have any plans for that or improving modding in general?
Well, we were just talking about this today, actually.
Notice the questions from McGlaspy.
McGlaspy getting in the questions that he knows answers to. Yeah. Okay. So we really want to focus that NS2 is moddable. So I think in the future we're gonna be working hard on somehow getting mods more focused and realized, like when you launch NS2, because we know a lot of people already have NS2, but when we start getting these people hopefully back into the game, we want them to say, oh, there's this cool mod that I can launch. So yeah, we're going to be looking into doing some various different things where we can help promote some mods. I also had a discussion with Brian Cronin. He's still interested in helping us out on NS2 and things, and he's suggested a few ideas that we might want to do. So I think that we want to push modding for the future, because that's what helps keep the game fresh and alive.
Well, and look, we're implementing features from mods. It's happened in the past. It's happening now. It's going to happen in the future. Your inspiration to drive you to make these mods furthers inspiration from the dev team as well. So absolutely, we want to uplift these, and we feel like it's a big deal. Yes, there are more and more games that are coming out that are Steam Workshop integrated for applying mods, but let's talk about Combat. I mean, Combat was a mod and now is looking to move to standalone. And that's awesome. I mean, some work that went in so much into that specific type of gameplay, and evolving even further. Love that little pun in there. Evolving. But so yeah, mods very important. Again, let's reiterate: the next 2 to 3 patches are not going to be massive, wide-ranging, sweeping changes or, humongous uh,
No, it's going to be bug
gorilla-sized
fixes,
updates.
quality of life fixes that'll hopefully make NS2 just feel that little bit better than what it was, and then we can start taking it into new places if this is a success.
Are there any plans, if a lot of the bigger issues are fixed, a relaunch event, NS2 2.0, or even plans for free to play with a launch event? Um, I don't think that anything is off the table as far as, promoting NS2 on a bigger level again. As far as free to play, sure, the discussion has been floated by, many people, but that's a decision that ultimately is unknown worlds. And I don't think that they're looking at moving towards that yet. I can't speak for the company. Um, but who knows? I mean, it really kind of depends. I think really on where we go with the patches and what we're able to accomplish, and feeling like we're in a state where it should be promoted even larger, right, Avi?
Yep, completely agree. I mean, the ultimate aim is to grow the player base. I mean, it the player base, as we know, has dropped a fair amount, but it's always pretty stable. So I think now with these new patches that we're hopefully going to continue with, we'll be able to start to grow the player base slowly over time, and get it back up to where it was a few months ago. But I think we can do it because we have a great team of people, very passionate people, and a very passionate community.
All right. So, do they have access to all NS code? The
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, I mean the answer to that is sort of. some
Yeah, sort of.
Everybody has access to the Lua code. Even you, as just an owner of the game, have access to the Lua. But access to the engine is something different. There are a couple users in our group that do have access to the core engine code, and obviously the rest of our users have access to the Lua code and can make their fixes and changes and testing in their own local environment. Can't they all just be submitted? No, you have to have access to our check-in system in order to actually submit bug fixes. But that doesn't mean you can't submit your information on the forums for people to find out as well.
Yeah, a number of bug fixes from 266 have come from the forums on the community, so you just keep posting. We're watching the forums every day, so if you post this awesome thing, that it might get included.
Are there plans to finish the currently implemented matchmaking system? I'm totally leaving that one, Avi.
I honestly, I don't know. I need to speak to a few people about that. I've not had a chance to deal with that yet.
Yeah,
So,
there's been some very light discussion about it, but right now the answer is we don't know.
no, it'll be as it is for now, and then we'll probably get some more information in the next week or two.
Any plans, however rudimentary, for shadow, etc. skins for Fade and Onos? I think that's a good question. As you guys know, one of our favorite community members, Rantology, who obviously provided the art for CLOGCAST today and so many other things, has also worked on a lot of artwork in the game. And this is going to tie into the next question that I just got pasted in front of me that says, are there plans for more DLC such as Kodiak DLC? We as a team would love to see more DLC in the game that allows for customization. Not so much, not so much, like necessarily paying for maps or anything like that. We don't want to go in that route. But the new customization menu makes it really exciting to kind of play with, the different skins and things that you have. And why not make even more available, right?
Exactly. I mean, we can do more shoulder pads and different armor skins. It's definitely more possible now, especially with Rantology on the team, because she's done some awesome stuff. And I can't wait to see what we can do in the future with that.
Right. And obviously, we're not talking about like saying we're going to drop 400 DLC items into a store. We don't have permission to do that yet from Unknown Worlds. That's a decision that they'll have to make. But that is one of our plans. We'd love to work on some DLC in order to allow people some more customization. And the neat thing about that as well is that could potentially mean also adding the Shadow Fade and Shadow Onos skins in, which I know a lot of people would be really excited about. Let's see. How do you guys feel about the current state of balance? Is it better than it was build 240, 250, 260? I mean, I think balance is a continually evolving thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think for 266 we're even touching balance, so it will be the same as 265 balance-wise, I would say. But I think as we go on with future patches, we'll start to touch on some balance things. But we're going to be in complete talkings with all the people in the community, including Andy, who's Suluk, who's been balancing the game for quite a long time. So, we're not going into this blind. All of us play the game. We kind of know what's broken and what's not. But there's a lot of different opinions on this, so it's best to sit down together with a group of people and also test it. I mean, there's also the balance mod that's out there now as well. I mean, we can always pull from things like that. So yeah, I think over time we will start to get into balance, but not just at the moment.
All right. So we're still taking your questions. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to post them in here so that Zephyr can grab them and point them our direction. Abraxas, any other specific things that we really want to make sure that the community is a little more aware of with the community dev team?
Yeah, don't forget to follow us on our new Twitter, which is at twitter.com/NS2CDT or at NS2CDT. You can follow us on there because me and Wasabi are posting a few tweets every day about what's going on in the community, in our internal chat room, and we'll start posting more and more as time goes on. And also for any live streams like this, we'll post it out through that Twitter as opposed to NS2's official Twitter, just so that we can post whenever we feel like it, basically.
How long is the game expected to remain supported? Well, I mean, I think that the answer is as long as we have a committed team that has the faith and trust of Unknown Worlds to allow us access to do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've all been around in the community for such a long time. I don't think we're going to go anywhere. I mean, I've been playing the game since it got released in 2001, and I'm sure you pretty much the same, right, Wasabi?
A long time.
Long time, yeah. So we're not going anywhere. So as long as we can work on it, and as long as our real lives don't get in the way of our spare time, then I think it'll be worked on for quite a while. We're not going anywhere.
While I'm quite impressed by this handover, I hope this works out. It looks like a lot of work. Absolutely. One of the biggest things that we stress to everybody that's been brought on to the dev team is do not burn yourself out. Do not take on too much. Do not push yourself. We have our own internal deadlines. We have goals, obviously. We're kind of structuring it in a way that we all feel comfortable that we're not all biting off too much than we can chew. And that's honestly why Abraxas and I are both leaders, is that, like you said, we both have full-time jobs. There's certain things that he can jump in and do easily. There's certain things I can jump in and do easily. And then we rely heavily on our team, obviously, because we are not successful without the people we've surrounded around us. And these people are the ones that are doing really the vast majority of the work. We're just helping to shepherd them in the right directions towards completion. So, yeah, it is a lot of work. And, again, they're not getting paid. It's really for love of the game and of this community.
Yep. And, part of our job is to keep everyone happy and motivated. So we want to give people the ability to work on almost what they want, but at the same time we need to make sure that they're not doing too much, because it's so easy to get burnt out doing tons and tons of stuff that you really want to do. So, we'll assign the programmers a few things to do. We'll give them a big list and say, right, you guys go for it, and see what you come up with. And if one guy can't do anything, or if he needs some help, the others can jump in and help out. So just getting everyone in a really good state of mind and keeping them that way, and that'll help drive us forward.
Will there ever be a campaign? A campaign.
Interesting question.
As far as like a single player game, I mean, maybe no. I mean, we've been talking a lot. We actually had a really awesome discussion last night that I'm hoping we're going to have more after we finish 266 about maybe an expanded tutorial. There are some limitations to some components of the game right now that have not allowed us to do a more expanded tutorial, that we're hoping we can find an easy way to get that fixed. But that does not mean that it won't happen. So, that's something we're working on.
Not
so if
much
that's
is
kind of
off
what you
the
mean
table.
by campaign, yeah, it's not off the table. Obviously, prioritization is a big thing. The other big thing is also, is this in line with what Unknown Worlds wants to do as well? So, every patch that we do, we submit that list to them again so that they can see what we're working on and where we're going with it, and they sign off on it before we move forward.
Yep, exactly. And we also have to think about what's good for the game now and the future. So, for instance, an expanded tutorial is really good for new players, but we'll only get new players when there's some kind of big promotion going on. So it's a good idea to get this thing timed. So if we are going to do an expanded tutorial, it's best to time that for when we are going to do, say, I don't know, some kind of Steam sale, or if there's a sale going on or whatever. You've got to get these things timed correctly, because there wouldn't be much point in doing an expanded tutorial, and getting everyone working for so many hours on this when we're not getting really many new players in, because all the players that are playing already know how to play the game. So it's about timing as well as working smartly.
Are there plans to still keep adding new maps? The very easy answer to that is absolutely.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Obviously, to become an official map, there is a certain level of aesthetic quality, and we rely heavily on, Corey, the art director, to make sure that we are in line with the vision of the game. That is not to say that there are not maps that we are looking at already to potentially get put into the game to be available. But we have awesome people like Loki, who worked on Kodiak, that is helping to shepherd along a lot of other maps. The Spark Crafters Collective is also working on that. And again, post the next 2 or 3 patches, we'll be talking more and more about those bigger picture items and how we can get them in the state where they can be included in the game officially.
Yep, and it's going to be very exciting to start seeing some of these maps, because there's a number of maps coming through now that have a very high visual quality as well as playing great, and I can't wait to start to see if we can get these in the game going forward.
Any plans on enabling more lighting options for players to increase performance?
I'm not so sure. I mean, if you turn the low lights option on, the game goes pretty quick. If you turn the low lights off, it looks much prettier, but you get lower FPS. I don't know. You can always install NS2 Plus Mendes and get even lower lights, right?
Yeah, enabling more lighting options in general. I think that's probably the best way to say it is you can utilize NS2 Plus to eliminate even more lighting on really a large selection of the maps now. But those could be potentially coming back into the vanilla game as options as well, for you to be able to toggle more of that for a performance boost for some of these players. How much testing does Mindas NS2 Plus require for quality of life features to be added? Given the usual length involved for somewhat minor changes?
Well, that's a good one. NS2 Plus is used by an awful lot of the community now. A lot more servers are coming online with it, and that's testament to Mendasp's coding ability. Luckily, an awful lot of the stuff is already been playtested for thousands of hours because of NS2 Plus already being out there, and integrating it into the vanilla game. But Mendasp is doing it himself, so he knows exactly where to put everything. And then once that's all installed into the vanilla game, our playtesters go through and make sure it actually works. So I don't think it's a major issue getting NS2 Plus features into the game because it's being tested already by so many people, and Mendasp is on the forums on a daily basis looking for feedback anyway. So I don't see it being
it's a nice thing too because it's a mod and he can immediately enable some of those things that he wants to test out in the mod. It's such a large majority of the community is using NS2 Plus on its servers that it's really easy to test. We've got a humongous test base at that point compared to our internal playtesters. So it's kind of nice to kind of see how things work, get feedback from the public, and then once it gets in the playtesters' hands, the chances of it working are much higher, but also just kind of seeing how it plays in line with the vanilla build at that point. Vanilla. How do you plan to approach future patches from a promotional standpoint? Well, we are planning on doing patch videos like before.
We've got It's Super Effective on the team. He's going to be doing a lot of video stuff for us.
When patches are released, there will still be a news post on the NS2 page at Unknown Worlds. The reason that there hasn't really been anything posted on the news page yet is because we don't really have anything to put on there other than we're working on it. So we want to make sure that when the patch comes out, that we can really drive home that it's a community developed patch. We feel like that'll be good for promoting the latest patch as well as the game and its future.
Yeah, and I'll be poking Hugh as well to see if he can help us out. But he is a very busy man, but we'll see what happens.
Obviously, this is a big big display of transparency with the CDT. Will there be further sessions of this CLOGCAST? If so, how often? Well, Abraxas and I, we've talked about it. Originally, the idea CLOGCAST was going to be a podcast, but I felt like for the first one, it should really be a live question and answer session rather than just kind of like an update as to where we're at. After we're done today, we're going to talk about it. I'd like to do them probably bi-weekly, sometimes being a live Q&A, sometimes being just maybe a recorded update that'll be broadcast on the channel or on YouTube or so forth.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'd be nice, I think, every now and again to do a live session just so we can get more involved with the community, but obviously, due to our workload, sometimes that might not be possible. So we might throw it onto, like, say, iTunes or something, or we'll put it on the main NS2 page. But we'll get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for Scott and I this whole time has really been we want it to be open. We want people to know what's going on. The CLOGCAST is our way of just kind of if maybe you haven't been watching streams or reading forum posts or looking at some of the online documents we've given you, it's just a way to catch up. 15, 20 minutes of audio, just talking about some of the things that we're working on, some of the things we're really excited about, some of the things that may be coming later. That's the idea of the CLOGCAST. And of course, like I said, every once in a while doing one of these live Q&As with the community because, again, we really value your input. And a lot of these questions, they've been great because they're a lot of the same things that we've been thinking about, and it's nice to see that people have the same feeling.
Yeah, it's been really good to see everyone being so positive on the forums, and we want you guys to know that it is very much appreciated that you guys have put a lot of faith in us to try and deliver NS2, and we're going to work our damn hardest to get you the game in as best way as we can.
The NS2 Twitch page does not get used as much as it could be. Are there plans to increase the amount it gets used? NS2 needs more Twitch stream activity. Yeah, I've had this discussion with a few people. Right now, uh, Hugh and I are really the only people that have access to stream on the NS2 page. Um, that's kind of been mainly just to make sure that we know who the people that are streaming are and complying with some of the expectations of the channel. That's not to say that in the future that we don't have more people doing things. One of the things that I'd like to do is actually have Twitch set up a natural selection to group so that we can have all of these new streamers, because we've got a lot of competitive players that are streaming more often now too, from their first person perspectives during games uh, in this group, so it's a lot easier for people to easily find the different streams for NS2. And at the same time, like I said, get more people on the official channel over time. That could be, maybe setting up. We know that Monday from this time to this time is somebody. Later in the day could be this person. Maybe every day of the week something going on. That's all something to build to as we continue to grow. One thing I've experienced when I started playing was the big learning curve the game had. Being that it's hard to invite people into playing because they get a bit hesitant once they face the difficulty, do you have any plans to lower that curve for new starters or ease the learning process without relying on the community? I think that really comes back to the tutorial, wouldn't you think, Abraxas?
I think so. I mean, we've talked about expanding the tutorials, and when you launch the game, you've got if you just want to get straight into the game, you do have those tutorial videos that pop up every now and again with some hints and things. I think for now, at least in the short term, we'll have to stick with what we have. But I think long term, we do want to expand on the tutorial, and we do want to get more, make it easier for players to play the game. For instance, you can't jump into Titanfall. When you buy Titanfall, you can't jump in and start playing. You have to play the tutorial, so you get an idea of how to play the game first. That's one interesting way of doing it. Doesn't mean it's the best way of doing it, but we can certainly look at what other games are doing and try and bring that into NS2 to help newer players. But as I say, it's going to be more of a long-term thought process thing than short-term.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of discussion over the next couple patches as we begin to look at things we can do to help this. There are a lot of things, and I think this really comes down to the community and asking them too, as people that have played, or maybe as people that have tried to get their friends to play, what has helped? What are the things that you explain to them, or that you see a lot of people having issues with, so that we can work on making those better for the new rookie players to come in. We've already thought of a couple small things, but I think there's a lot of visual things that can be done. Still a lot more of those kind of checkpoint triggers that are telling people that, oh yeah, good job, you did that, to make it understand that they are moving forward. Related to the Twitch question, will official website and Facebook page be updated by select community members as well, or will they still be controlled by UWE?
They're still going to be controlled by Unknown Worlds because it's theirs, but Hugh is giving me access, and I think maybe one or two other people access, but at least definitely me access to the channels, and so we can post stuff on there when we need to, because they really want to make this a community effort, and that the community pushes the game forward, and that's why they're entrusting us with pretty much everything we need to do that, which is quite remarkable if you think about it. No other game company that I can think of has ever done anything like this. The Unreal guys, well, they have a whole team of people in their offices working on it with the community. In this respect, the community is working on it pretty much all the time on their own, which is great. It means that they've got a lot of faith in us, and we're looking forward to showing that what we can do.
All right, well, we're going to start winding down here, and we'll take just a couple more questions if you guys have them. Again, we want to stress to you, check out social media. If you follow us on Twitter at NS2CDT, you'll get access to our daily tweets about what's going on in the game. Letting you know about potential new CLOGCAST live Q&As. or other things that are going on with NS2, because there is always something going on. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, this is something special. I wanted to show you guys this. I'm going to go ahead and just add it up on the screen right now. I found out that one of our newer player testers, Feather Monster, she did this awesome graphic during the WC, and it didn't get put on the screen. And I can't believe this. Check this out. This is probably the coolest graphic ever. It's called the clog globe, and you'll actually notice that this gorgeous clog is the world.
Okay.
Well, it's really pretty. It's awesome. So, mad props to Feather.
Oh,
Thank you so
pretty.
much. We appreciate, you doing the artwork, and I'm sorry that you didn't get on the screen during the cast, because that definitely deserved it.
That is cute.
Yeah. I was like waiting for you to actually look at it. I didn't know you had the stream open, Avi.
Yeah, I had the stream open. I was like, it's like as soon as I started streaming, everyone wanted to talk to me, so I'm kind of moving windows all around. So it was hard for me to open it up. But yeah, that is adorable.
All right, well, our last question of the day today, folks. Does the CDT effort mean that UWE is officially stepping down completely from NS2 development and maintenance? I would say that the answer to that is no, because they're still involved, and obviously they're a guiding force for us and with us. But as we said in our post, this is an opportunity for Unknown Worlds to shift its focus onto, its future and onto new games. So they're still involved in NS2. We're just trying to lighten their load and continue to inspire NS2 and grow NS2 while they focus on something else. I mean, would you agree with that, Abraxas?
Oh yeah, we're taking the load off their shoulders because NS2, it's a lot of work, and they have stuff that they need to deal with, and I'm working on it as well. So I know how much work that they're putting into Subnautica and stuff. So it takes a lot of load off their shoulders that they can be certain that NS2 is going to continue, that the community is still going to be around, and people are still going to enjoy it.
And one thing that we want to highlight one more time before we end today's Q&A is our public Trello. That should be available soon. We're working on making the changes with Trello right now. What does that mean for you? That means that at any given time, you can click on a link and you'll be able to see our to-do list, our currently working on list, our ready for testing, and the things that are done that are going into the next patch. I don't know how much more open we could get as far as what we're working on.
It's actually better than what we had before, because like years ago we had the dev tracker on the NS2 page, and then that stopped working and it never really got fixed. This is actually even better than that, because you will be able to see what it is that's being worked on and what has been done, and it's just going to be much better for people to see. So you don't have to always be, you just have to look at this page and you'll know exactly what you want to from it,
Absolutely. Well, folks, we would like to thank you guys for tuning out for today's community development Q&A about the future of Natural Selection 2 and Build 266. I'd like to thank Abraxas, my co-leader in crime with the community development team. Thanks, Avi, for coming in and answering questions with us. We will be back again sometime very soon to talk to you about where we are at. Could potentially even be to say, hey, look, guess what? 266 is coming out. Here's everything that made it in, and really getting into it with you guys. We hope that you'll continue to support Natural Selection 2 and its development by helping us find more solutions to problems and giving us your feedback on the stuff that comes out from this team. I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at NS2 CDT. I'm Wasabi1. Thanks for tuning in. This is twitch.tv/Natural Selection 2.